Bound or double-welt buttonholes are ideal for tailored garments, coats and jackets, thicker fabrics, oversized buttons, or simply as an elegant design feature. Unlike other buttonholes, they're created entirely with straight stitching and can be made using either matching or contrast fabric. Hello and welcome to the Sewing Whisperer and another video in the Buttons and Buttonhole playlist. If you're just joining me, you'll find the complete button and buttonhole playlist linked below, where we start with buttonhole theory and work all the way through to advanced techniques. If you'd like to sew along, there are free downloadable patterns linked in the description below. For this tutorial, I'll show two methods. The first method uses two separate welts or jets to create the buttonhole, and the second uses a single facing. I'm using contrast fabric, but you can also choose to use matching fabric. Before we start sewing, let's look at how the pattern has been drafted and why the measurements are important. So I created a rectangle and decided the buttonhole would sit right in the center of the rectangle, and then from this edge I've allowed 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and that's the edge where the facing joins the main to neaten the front of the garment. So the first thing that you really need to see is where is the center front. The center front is where you sew the button, and you can't just sew a button onto nothing. You have to have an extension of fabric so that the two fronts would overlap. This yellow section is showing you what's known as the wrap, the extension past the center front. And to achieve that, I needed to know the size of the button that I was working with. And in this case, the button's 3.8 centimeters or 1.5 inches. So if I place that button on the center front line, which of course you've got to sew your button on the center front, and then this is the fabric extending past it. So to figure out the wrap distance, first of all you go half the button, so from here to here is half our button, and then allow a bit of extra fabric. So I've allowed another 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch that extends past the button. Now with coats I tend to use a slightly bigger amount. If I was doing a blouse or something more delicate, I would probably only allow about 0.75 beyond the button for the overlap. Next we need to mark the opening of the actual buttonhole, and that sits where those two holes are going beyond the center front. So these are the two stitch through holes on the button. So that's where I've got the start of the buttonhole, and then it goes the width of the button plus ease. So in this case the button was 3.8 centimeters or 1.5 inches. I've made the opening 4.5 centimeters or 1 3/4 inches, and that's how I got these lines going up and down. That's the actual start and finish of the opening for the buttonhole. Now as far as the distance in here, I like to have 0.5. You can go a little bit bigger, but 0.5 or 1/4 of an inch. You could go to 0.6 centimeters. I like 0.5, so I've gone 0.5 above and 0.5 below, and that's for what's known as the lips of the buttonhole. So that's how I've achieved that distance. Now of course I haven't given you all of that information on the pattern because it becomes a little bit overwhelming. So when you look at your pattern, it will just have these lines, and I would recommend that you rule these lines right through your pattern piece so that you've got them as guides. You don't really need to mark the 1 centimeter line. You can if you like, but it's not necessary. You'll find that this is a slightly bigger area than this side. So when you're actually putting it all together, you'll know that this is the side where the opening happens. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an understanding of how I've achieved the guides on this pattern piece. Method 1, double welt or jets. My preferred method because in my opinion the ends sit better. Print and cut the pattern. Cut the fabric. You'll need 2 main and 1 main in fusible interfacing. 1 main reinforcement cut from fusible interfacing. 1 underfacing cut from a lightweight fabric. My sample fabric is light enough, so I've just used that. And 2 jets. I've chosen to cut them in contrast fabric. Mark all pieces with a fast fade or washable marking pen. Apply the fusible interfacing to the facing, then reinforce the buttonhole area on the garment. Once everything is in position, press thoroughly before preparing the jets. Press the jets in half. I marked a centre line through the jets. Place the jets to the right side of the main with the raw edges facing the centre line and equal amounts extending each end. Sew in the centre of the jets, starting and stopping exactly on the guidelines at each end. Mark the guideline through the second jet and sew as before. Cut open the buttonhole centre slightly, snip the centre, then cut along the centre stopping before each end. Cut triangles into each corner, cut right up to the stitching but not through it. Be careful not to cut the jets. Turn the jets through to the wrong side. Stitch the corner triangles down. Press the jets flat. Using needle and thread, herringbone the jets together. This temporary herringbone stitch helps keep the jets perfectly aligned during construction. Traditionally, it remains in place until the garment is completed and is removed during the final pressing. Bag out the facing. Place the under facing on top of the main facing with right sides together, aligning the guidelines. Stitch around the rectangle starting along one of the longer sides. Don't start in the corner because the corners won't be as secure and may fray. Cut the opening as before. Turn the facing through to the wrong side and press to achieve crisp edges. Place the main and the facing with right sides together, checking that the buttonhole openings align. Professional tip: if your garment has several bound buttonholes, it's much easier to sew the jets and facing buttonholes before assembling the garment. Just make sure all the markings are extremely accurate so the openings align perfectly. Sew using a 1 cm seam allowance. Trim the seam back to 0.6 centimetres or 1/4 of an inch. Push the seam to the facing and understitch to hold the seam allowance in place. Press the seam flat, then fold over and press into place, ensuring the buttonhole openings align. Using a needle and thread, slip stitch the facing side of the buttonhole opening into place. Remove the herringbone stitches and give the garment a final press. Test that the button slides through the buttonhole opening. Method 2. The second method uses a single facing rather than 2 separate jets. It involves fewer pieces, making it quicker to prepare, but with thicker fabrics it can be more difficult to achieve crisp corners. Print and cut the pattern. Cut the fabric. You'll need 2 main, 1 main infusible interfacing, 1 main reinforcement cut from fusible interfacing, 1 underfacing cut from a lightweight fabric. My sample fabric is light enough, so I've just used that. And 1 buttonhole lip. I've chosen to cut this in contrast fabric. Mark all pieces with a fast fade or washable marking pen. Apply the fusible interfacing to the facing, then reinforce the buttonhole area on the garment. Once everything is in position, press thoroughly. Place the buttonhole lips right sides together to the main, aligning with the guidelines. Stitch around the rectangle starting along one of the longer sides. Cut the opening as before. Turn through to the wrong side. Begin by pressing the corner triangles open. Then press flat to create a crisp edge. Press the 2 long sides open. Next, use the edge of the seam to create the width to fold over and press. Repeat for the other side. You'll notice the ends aren't quite as sharp as the double welt method. That's because this technique has stitching running across the ends of the buttonhole. With heavier fabric, those extra layers can make it more difficult to achieve perfectly crisp corners. Attach the zipper foot with the hole on the left, or set the needle to the left if using a domestic zipper foot. Sew the triangles. To help achieve a crisp end, pull the contrast facing triangle firmly first and sew on top of the previous row of stitching. Repeat for the other end. Sew the long edges of the buttonhole to secure the buttonhole lips into place. Using needle and thread, herringbone the buttonhole lips together. Bag out the facing as before. Cut the opening. Turn the facing through to the wrong side and press. Place the main and the facing with right sides together, checking that the buttonhole openings align. Sew using a 1 cm seam allowance. Trim the seam back to 0.6 cm or 1/4 inch. Push the seam to the facing and understitch to hold the seam allowance in place. Press the seam flat, then fold over and press into place, ensuring the buttonhole openings align. Using a needle and thread, slip stitch the facing side of the buttonhole opening into place. Remove the herringbone stitches and give the garment a final press. Test that the button slides through the buttonhole opening. And that's it. You now have 2 professional methods for sewing beautiful bound buttonholes. Whether you choose the traditional double welt method or the single facing technique, you'll be able to create elegant buttonholes suitable for tailored garments and couture sewing. Up next, we'll look at rouleau loops for button closures, great for delicate blouses, special occasion wear and wedding dresses. Be sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.